My mother-in-law disappeared on our wedding day, forcing us to reschedule. 3 months later, she did it again, returning days later shocked by our reaction. I never thought I would be one of those who complain about their mother-in-law, but here I am. My husband is a certified mama's boy, but not in a terrible way. He loves his mom so much, and he would do anything for her. They are really close, but since our relationship started, he has had to set boundaries. After a huge fight we decided that some information was off limits for his mom to know. He also had to address some of the things that were normal for both of them, since he now had a woman in his life. Dave was her only son, so I understood how she must have felt, but it didn't change the fact that he was now a grown man who was ready to start a family. Her attitude towards me grew increasingly worse as my relationship with Dave progressed. It was some subtle, passive aggression. Sometimes I wondered if she thought she was in a relationship with her son, thus making me the enemy. I loved Dave because I never had to fight for his attention. He could pick when his mom was doing too much and wanted to cause a scene, so he skillfully avoided it. I remember how uncomfortable she was at our engagement party. It was laughable. We were supposed to get married 3 months ago, but my mother-in-law was nowhere to be found on our wedding day. Dave's dad said they had been together the night before, and it didn't seem like anything was wrong, and she didn't tell him that she was going anywhere. Everyone got so worried, and Dave couldn't even concentrate. We didn't know if something had happened to her or if she was kidnapped. There were just so many uncertainties. I, for one, did not want our wedding anniversary to be associated with a sad memory. We decided to move the wedding. It was a lot on us financially because everything was set, and these people who were rendering their services still needed to be paid regardless of whether there was a wedding or not. We apologized to our guests, who were very understanding as most of them were immediate family and close friends, and told them that a new date would be communicated. We couldn't set one then because we weren't sure how everything would turn out. She returned in the afternoon and said she just went out to get an early surprise for us for our big day, but she got lost and didn't have her phone with her. I didn't believe her. I had no evidence, so I had to go with the flow, but I remained observant. I also noticed that she didn't bring any surprise gifts for us, as she claimed. I was so sure that the truth would surface soon enough. We set another wedding date in 3 months, and the same thing happened again. Who was my mother-in-law kidding? I didn't have to say anything, which was great because it meant that I was not to blame for anything. Dave and his dad said that we would continue as planned. Both of them were very upset with my mother-in-law because it was the second time in a row, and with the flimsy excuse she gave the first time, we all knew that she left on purpose to stop the wedding. Dave's dad was particularly annoyed because of the money we had to waste planning 2 weddings and his wife's disrespect towards my parents and the other guests. 2 days after the wedding she appeared, but we could tell she was shocked that no one cared. We had planned that no one would call or try to find her, and when she came back, we didn't act like she had gone missing. We carried on like everything was fine. You could tell that the silence was killing her inside. She wanted some attention from Dave especially, but he ignored her completely because he was upset. At one point, none of us acted like she didn't go missing, but he acted like she wasn't even there. We were to leave for our honeymoon that evening, and his dad was supposed to drop us at the airport. My mother-in-law insisted on coming with us, but Dave still ignored her. We were going to be in Greece for about a month, which to his mom was a long time. I even tried to get my husband to say goodbye, hug her maybe, or at the very least acknowledge her, but he gave me the stink eye. That's our code for you can't change my mind. I resolved that this was a mother and son battle, and I was going to take the back seat and watch it play out. We arrived in Greece yesterday. It is so beautiful, and our hotel is lovely. I'm excited about having an unforgettable experience. It's always been my dream to have my honeymoon in Greece. Dave didn't care where we went, as far as he was with me, which was so sweet. Dave's sister is my friend, so we talked a lot. I asked for the details on her mom. She told me that she was fuming in anger and that everything was the enemy. They all knew to stay clear of her as she threw her tantrums. She told me to prepare for her just in case she tried to take it out on me because she saw that coming. Dave's dad was a gentleman, so he didn't engage with her, which annoyed her even more. My mother-in-law said that everyone in the family had ganged up against her and taken her son away from her, and she was the only one who tried to stop him from making that mistake. It's funny because I thought only little kids got separation anxiety. As expected, she called me in the evening to rain insults on me. She accused me of stealing her only son away from her and making him not care about her anymore. She said she always knew that that was my plan, but she was going to make sure that I didn't succeed. I tried to calm her down, but that made everything worse. She said I should never interrupt her again and I had ill manners. I heard Dave coming, so I put the phone on speaker so he could hear all that his mom was saying. He'd gone out for a few minutes to prepare a surprise for me while I got ready. As he walked towards me, I could see the rage in his eyes, and I suddenly regretted putting the phone on. Speaker. I tried to stop him from getting the phone, but he was faster than me. He told his mom never to disrespect me again. He told her how ashamed he was to call her mother because, for the past year, she had not behaved like one. He expected her to be happy for him, but she was trying to destroy his happiness, which is what enemies do. He told her that if she continued behaving like his enemy, he would treat her like one, even though she was the one who gave birth to him. Now his mom was crying on the phone. It was a whole mess. I had never seen Dave speak to anyone as he spoke to his mom. He had lost his respect for her. Behind all that rage, I could tell that he was hurt. He loved his mom so much, but her obsession with him blinded her. She didn't realize that she was hurting him and destroying their relationship. At that time, all I wanted to do was shield Dave from more harm. I didn't want him hurt, and I felt like I exposed him to it by purposely putting the phone on speaker. Our evening didn't go as planned. I could tell he was no longer in the mood, but he also didn't want to disappoint me, so I reassured him, and we stayed in and made him feel better in the best way I could. I can't help but think that I'm at fault for how Dave's relationship with his mom is now. When I met him, he was a classified mommy's boy, and now he doesn't even want to speak to her or see her. I heard that his mom cried for days after the last incident. She tried to call Dave many times, but he wouldn't answer the call. He got worked up whenever I tried to get him to speak to her. One time, he kind of poured his anger on me because I wouldn't let him be. I should be happy that his mom would no longer be a problem for me, but I'm not. I have a wonderful relationship with my parents, and I don't want to be the reason why Dave doesn't speak to his mom anymore. I'm not sure I can live with that, but Dave seems to have made up his mind, and his dad isn't saying anything about it. Dave's sister thinks that he will come around and that he just needs time to heal. After all, he was right to be hurt and annoyed at his mom for missing his wedding for selfish reasons, so we couldn't tell him how to deal with it. She also said that her mom needs the treatment she is getting from Dave so that she can learn her lesson. No mom should be okay with risking the chance of missing their child's wedding just because they would miss them when they get married. She also said that she didn't behave like that when she had to get married. So what was all the fuss about with Dave? This made me feel a little better, but because I know that I wanted Dave to hear what his mom said, I was looking for a reaction from him, and the result is devastating. I'm still filled with guilt. NTA, your mother-in-law needs to chill. If she really wanted to stop a wedding, she wouldn't use the same exact strategy unless she wasn't smart enough. It was clear that that was what she was trying to do, so no. One would pay attention to her the second time. If I were you, I would be glad about my newfound peace instead of feeling guilty. It's not like you lied and made up what she said. YTA. Do you think you've destroyed your husband's relationship with his mom? Yes, you did. I hope Dave maintains the same energy years down the line and doesn't blame you for being estranged from his mother. You should do everything you can to reconcile them. NTA. You didn't do anything wrong because Dave needed to hear what his mom was saying to you. It's great that you are not happy that they are having issues, so help them reconcile. I don't think you would have the same problems you had with his mom because she should have learned her lesson. Also, remember to set boundaries as you guys talk it over. I am a father of one girl, Violet. Her mom is very religious, and you can F off if you don't fit into every single religious belief she has. Violet came out a few years ago saying she liked girls. I was suspicious of mom's reaction. I was absolutely right to be. She did a lot of effed up things to my daughter and said some really harmful things. It was typical of what you hear from people like her. She's going to hell, she's not normal, she needs to be baptized and see a priest. Had her go to church multiple times a week, blocked all girls from her phone, outed her to people in her family, told people in the church, gone as far as to send her photographs when she was at school, reminding her not to look at girls. She's crazy, and more. This isn't all either. I hadn't known this until she slipped up. I divorced her immediately, and my daughter now lives with me full-time, and she only gets visits, no sleepovers, no staying at her house, and she has pretty much no right to Violet. Anyways, I've met my daughter's now girlfriend, and she comes over frequently. At this time, she was going to come over a little later and stay for the weekend, and I'd drop her off. However, I got a surprise visit from my daughter's mom. It was 2 hours before, so I told her she can only stay for an hour. She agreed, and they talked for a little while. Then her girlfriend ended up coming much earlier than I expected, and her mom was still there. I told her that she needed to go, and that we will plan a visit sometime soon. But I guess she had other plans and said no, that she wanted to meet, and my kid's face said a lot. I told her that this is a conversation for another day. She said that she hasn't done anything like she did before, and she earned the right to meet who her daughter is with. I said she shouldn't have done it at all, and she doesn't have a right to be here unannounced, and she's lucky she got that. She said that I am holding her past against her, and I'm not allowing her to prove that she's willing to put her religious facts behind her. All I said was, this is not how we are doing this, and she isn't entitled to anything and is in no position to be making demands. We went back and forth, with her saying she's never going to be allowed to prove herself to Violet, and me saying she needs to try and be a mom to her, instead of thinking proving herself is just supporting her sexuality alone. She did leave, and I've told this to a few of my family members, and they've said that she deserves to at least prove she can support her. Well, yes, at some point she does. At this moment wasn't a good time, and I would like to sit both of them down, including her girlfriend's parents, before moving forward. And I feel like her thinking just by meeting the girl as a way to prove herself isn't ideal. Although I know this is what I felt was in my kid's best interest, knowing her progression. Was I wrong for this? NTA. You did what was best for your daughter. When, if her mother wants to prove herself, it should be on your daughter's terms, not when the mother decides on a whim. The fact she doesn't see this makes me question if she really has changed. Why would she deliberately put her daughter in a position like that? It's completely selfish and unfair. I'm really glad your daughter has such an accepting and level-headed parent as you, because her mother sounds like an awful role model, and I genuinely question, from what I've read at least, if she will ever prove otherwise. NTA. You are protecting your daughter and her girlfriend from someone who has a proven tendency to be extremely hateful to those in the LGBT community. Ex-wife needs to be respectful of everyone's boundaries if she genuinely wants a chance to prove herself. And showing up unannounced and throwing a temper tantrum is not the way to show that she has changed and can be trusted to behave appropriately. My husband and I have 2 children, Danny, 10, male, and Clarissa, 6, female. For 2 years now, we've fostered children. Our families have been supportive. Last Christmas, we had a long-term placement, Whitney. They were with us for 6 months. At the time, my husband's family made sure to get her gifts if they were buying some for our bio children. Mine did the same, all except for my mother. She got my kids really nice gifts, but for Whitney, she got nothing. Whitney was a toddler, so she didn't notice, but it did rub me the wrong way. I talked with my mom, and she said she didn't think it'd matter as Whitney would be going home soon. I told her in the future, of course, gifts for our own kids aren't expected, but if she buys for one, she has to buy one for everyone. Whitney was reunited with her parents 2 months later. Shortly after, we got our next placement, Samantha. She's 8 years old. We don't know how much longer she'll be with us, but it does seem like reunification is on the horizon. Exciting for Samantha. My mom recently called me, asking what the kids wanted for Christmas. She worded it just like that, not, what do Danny and Clarissa want, just the kids. I mentioned an idea for each child, including Samantha. She then said, but she's going home soon. I replied, yes, but she will be with us through the holidays at the minimum, and she's old enough to understand that the other kids are receiving gifts and she's not. My mom kept arguing, and finally I said, I won't accept gifts for Danny and Clarissa if she shows up with just gifts for them, then they'll be sent back. My mom told me I'm being spiteful. I said I can't control her buying gifts for Samantha, but she won't exclude her. My kids are not the type to expect gifts. They wouldn't notice if Grandma didn't get them anything. Another relative who usually goes all out was having a hard time last year and didn't get them anything. They didn't say a word, so I know they won't even be fazed by this. This also isn't an issue of money on my mom's end. She admits she could afford to buy Samantha something. My husband is backing me up, but some of my relatives aren't. Ish. On a basic human level, yeah, your mom's kind of being shitty. If she can make a foster kid's life a little better without any undue hardship and actively chooses not to, dick move, no question. That being said, my family ran foster care homes over multiple generations. Here's the thing you don't seem to understand. You signed up to foster these kids. Not your mom, not your kids. You are the only one who actually bears that responsibility. If your mom only wants to buy presents for her grandkids, that is her right. As I said, it would be a dick move. But you really have no right to punish your kids, who did not sign up for any of this, for your mom's choices. You want a solution? Buy the extra present yourself and don't allow Grandma to hand them out herself. That way, you minimize the impact of the situation on the kids. If Grandma refuses, and she's choosing not to give these presents on Christmas, that wouldn't be on you. NTA, but on the condition that you're not expecting her to buy an equal gift to your children. It's wonderful that your foster child will likely be reunified soon. That suggests to me that her connection with her own family is still strong. She not only doesn't need your parents to step into a familial role, but also likely would be uncomfortable if they do. This is currently viewed as temporary for everyone, including Samantha. Treating her the same way as if she's going to stay forever may not be what she wants. That being said, they should buy her something if they are giving other gifts to children. As someone who opened gifts at the same time as cousins and second cousins, we all understood the magnitude of the gift would be different based on the relationship. Something thoughtful she would appreciate and easily take with her would be lovely and appropriate. It's not about the size of the gift, it's about conveying she is welcome and part of the celebration. YTA. You're punishing your kids because of what, exactly? Why should your kids miss out on presents from grandma just because grandma doesn't want to buy presents for random? Children who stay with you for a month and then disappear? You do understand those aren't her grandkids, right? As in, they aren't even family, not even distant cousins. They have zero to do with her, and vice versa. Why on earth would you expect her to buy them a damn thing? Is this a joke?